Testing, testing. Hey, welcome to the live stream, y'all. Sorry, I ran a minute or two late there. Welcome back to our weekly check in, our discipline check in. Hopefully, you don't hear the chainsaws going on in the background here. It's a little bit loud, but yeah, this is our Wednesday 10 o'clock weekly check in. For me, you know that I don't like counting days on the streak, but it is 87 days for me, approaching that 90-day. I'm a firm believer on that 90 days of retention that you're going to get all these extra powers. No, that's not why we're doing this. We're doing this because we're trying to better ourselves, right? So, yeah, a couple things that I would say here is I'm approaching 1 year of caffeine free. You believe that? 1 year, no longer caffeinated. That's going to be next week on March 27th. So I will give you an update on that on the next check in. But it's changed my life. I used to really be addicted to caffeine, and uh, I've cut it out of my life one time for about 2 years, and I've been drinking it probably for as far as I can remember, like almost 30 years. I love the taste of coffee. Coffee ice cream, even growing up, was amazing. But I had to let it go. And one of the things that did lead me to giving up my caffeine addiction is semen retention. I went to the forums and they were saying that one of the things that causes relapses and anxiety and like too much pent up energy is drinking caffeine. And of course, I had this unhealthy relationship with caffeine for many, many years. The 6 to 8 double shot espressos per day, and that was quite a lot. Um, and yeah, so that's really why I had to give up caffeine, and it's been great for the last year. And I'll give you some more updates on that as I hit my annual 1 year celebration of giving up caffeine. Now, for those of you that love caffeine, like my wife and many of my family members, you can drink it, and more power to you. It is a socially acceptable drug, but for me, I had to put that down. So if that's something you're considering in the future, definitely tune in next week, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Definitely a very difficult addiction to give up. I finished training yesterday as I am getting ready for the Pan American Games. I've lost at least, I don't know, 7 or 8 pounds already. I got 3 more to go. I'm 181 pounds. I have to get to about 177, 178 pounds, give or take, and be wearing a gi at the same time, right? And this is, of course, can't be dehydrated. This is the IBJJF Pan American Games in Orlando at the end of the month of March, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's 30 people in my division, and it's going to get me warmed up for the competition season. And yeah, so that's going to be my next competition. As you know, I am on the quest to become the first Triple Crown world champion. That is a world champion in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kudo, and Judo in the over 45 division. And I'm chronicling all of my journey so I can share what I've learned with the world. And of course, one thing that I've learned that's really made me extremely successful in competition is retaining my seed. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. Now, I came into, finished training yesterday, I was saying, and with my cousin, who's very good at jujitsu. And he sent me a great text message, and I really appreciate him for it. And he said that, training with him, motivated him in the sense that it seemed effortless, the things that I was doing, but also how strong I felt. And he jokingly accused me of being on TRT. And as you know, one of the things that we talk about on this channel is increasing your testosterone and your androgen receptor sensitivity. And I'm a firm believer that retaining your seed helps you do that and makes you feel a lot stronger. And, he knows that I do that as well. I don't know if he thought about it at that moment, but he thought that, maybe TRT was the answer. And I'm trying to stave off and forego that for as long as possible. Who knows how long that could be? Hopefully my whole life, because one of the things that I worry about with TRT is your gonads shutting down, right? Like that's kind of where we're drawing our energy from at this point when we're talking about retaining our seed. So, not on my list of things to do is get on TRT. And I know that a lot of people that are on it, it's almost like it can be a license to be undisciplined. I'm not saying you are, and I'm saying look, I'm not looking down on anybody that is. Some people really actually need this. But if you can do a lot of things in your life, like get better sleep, eat better, cut out sugar, cut out bad habits, you can naturally increase your testosterone. And I am going to get my blood work done. I said that in the last time, but I hate needles. and my doctor is my performance doctor is knocking on my door with the time to get my blood work and my markers in. And I will share that again in an upcoming conversation, and to see how the improvement in nutrition, sleep, supplementation, and semen retention is helping with the markers or not. Who knows, right? I could be wrong. We'll check it out. One thing that I would say that I saw in the last couple of days that really solidified my commitment and resolve to this journey. Not that I wasn't before. We're doing this for the entire year of 2026 to see, set that goal. And all the other brothers that are on here that want to join us, like this is going to be, fun times, right? So let's keep going. All right. Um, ran into this documentary called Seed, and I saw it on the Reddit forum, and it's about semen retention. It's about an hour long. It's made by an anonymous YouTuber. He's got a bunch of stuff on his channel. I'll try to share it in the description so you guys can check it out. It was eye opening. It offered a lot of um, historical writings about semen retention, like the person who basically they credit with in coming up with the medical industry. That's not a good word. The medical field, which is Hippocrates, and he was talking about how important it is to retain your seed, and how um, the energy that you expend by having to create more sperm or semen, like that's a tax on the body, and if you're always in this state of depletion, just like most men are in this modern society, spilling our seed needlessly, and for to some pixels on a screen, like that's killing our dopamine. Your system is always in a state of having to create more, right? So it's diverting all the energy into creating through reproduction. And so, therefore, if you're able to retain this seed and not be in this depleted state, you're then able to take the energy that you would have diverted to the reproductive system and use them in direct them to other areas of your body, like cellular rejuvenation, if that's a word, right? This guy's like, oh, bro, science and this and that. That's a one comment that I ran into in my social media, that I post every now and then um, about semen retention. One thing that we do talk about in it is like, particularly in the Seed documentary, is why wouldn't you share this secret with the world, right? If you knew this thing, like most men are all about uh, keeping an advantage to themselves, and the guy who created that documentary, pardon me, would say that um, that's because of lustful thinking. That's really where it comes from, right? It's because your goal is to monopolize your relationships with all the females. So you're not willing to share things that might help each other, right? You're less likely to be cooperative, you're more likely to be competitive. And that comes from a mindset of lust. That is the mindset of, hoarding more and greed and keeping it all to yourselves. And therefore, if we were to share this idea with more people, be supportive of one another, that we would make the world better. I've said that in other posts that I've made about this topic, is that I believe that it's going to save the world. Why do I believe that? Is because it's going to change the way that we think. You know, um, One thing is that we would be more cooperative. It would force women to be more virtuous. I'm not saying that they're not. I'm saying that there are some that are just that are using sexual attraction as a means of currency, as a means of keeping a relationship, as a means of attraction. And while you know that is the idea, is to attract a mate, it would also force you to be more selective on who you are choosing to spend your time with, right? Because if I'm not chasing lust, if I'm not chasing um, sexual gratification with women, then I'm more likely to divert that energy into other areas. But also, if I do spend time with somebody, hopefully they would be somebody who's worthwhile spending time with. And therefore, it is not about tempting me with, the way that people dress or the way that people carry themselves. Is more just about who they are as a person and what they bring to a relationship of spending time and being together. So I'm a firm believer that it would change the dynamic of the world and not just male female relationship. It's about how we treat each other, how we look out for each other. So if we were men to be more disciplined and to protect that power, that essence inside of us, I think that this world would be a better place. Okay, so going back to what you were talking about, the idea of that documentary, I highly recommend you check it out. It's 1 hour of your time. It will definitely solidify your resolve to do this. But it also talks about all like the benefits that you get from it. And of course, in this path to becoming a world champion at the age of 45, and of course the over 45 division, I need every edge that I can possibly get. And having uh, boundless energy, fast recovery, strength, um, all these things that you need for combat sports. Like this is definitely something that I'm willing to do. And while TRT is an easy way out for me, I know that I would not be disciplined in other areas of my life. And as much as I train, as much as I need to recover, as much as I need to eat nutritiously. These are all things that I think if I had a magic pill, like I wouldn't be doing them as diligently as disciplined as I need to. And so therefore, putting my mindset to retaining my essence and making sure that I do all the things that go along with that keeps me very disciplined. And it's not about willpower and like, I know there's a lot to be said about you got to grind it out, you got to grind it out, you got to work hard and this and that. I think this willpower is finite. If you don't have the why of why you're doing anything, then it's easy to lose sight. It's easy to lose resolve. It's easy to turn away from all those goals. And so therefore really have to know why you're doing this. And I think gives me more creativity, it makes me a better person, it makes me stronger. And that's one thing. I woke up this morning, I had like just so many good ideas about things I wanted to do. I'm going to create a Kudo fundamentals course for free for everybody. By the way, you know that I'm a big proponent of Kudo now. I think that it's the future of martial art. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for me was the future in 1990, and I still love Jiu-Jitsu. I've been accused of hating Jiu-Jitsu, and I post things about it all the time. Really, what I post about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is where it has come from, where it started. And right now, we don't have to know how to take anybody down. We get hit in the face. We're like, oh, no, you hit me in the face. Like, well, we try pandering to the judges. But really, it was about fighting back in the day. And I'm not saying everything needs to be about fighting. I think the martial arts has a lot more to offer than just fighting and self-defense, but it is rooted in combat. It is rooted in self-defense, and therefore it needs to keep that intact. And I think jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, sports jiu-jitsu has really gotten far away from that. And that's where Kudo can bring us back because it's so exciting. It's like, Kudo's a Japanese MMA with a gi on. You can ground and pound on the ground. You can submit people. You can punch, kick, elbow, clinch, throw. It's like the world is opened up in terms of martial art. And so therefore, I really am a big proponent and a big promoter of Kudo right now. And so therefore, I want to make a Kudo fundamentals video that's free for everybody to get exposed to it. And these ideas came to me, when I woke up. I thought of a lot of ideas for business, things I'm trying to finish, and they all just kind of click together. I feel like the universe begins to come together for me, and it's because of this practice. And so going back to a couple of the comments that I got, one thing we talk about is science. They're like, oh, this guy doesn't believe in science. That's why he believes in semen retention. And again, go watch the Seed documentary. I think it's going to be, a lot of the ideas are rooted in scientific research. But at the same time, like, what is science? And I've talked about this in the past. And science for us is induction. It's like, if you can't see it, then it doesn't exist. So if you believe in God, how do you explain that existence? Right. And I'm not saying that this is something that, you just have to believe and it's true. It is possible to prove it with evidence, and the evidence is within you. So if you decide to do this for 30, 60, 90 days, document it, check out and see what kind of benefits you're getting from it. Maybe you're not getting the right benefits from it. Maybe you should, but you will know about it, and you will know whether it is true or false what I'm saying. Don't take what I'm saying as the gospel or truth or anything like that. Discover it for yourself. And that's the beauty of this, is you can discover it for yourself. As a man, if you decide to retain your seed for 30, 60, 90 days, I guarantee that you're going to find that you're going to have some improvement in your life. At least you're going to get some energy or time, and you'll be able to devote that into other areas that would help you become more successful. Okay, so check it out for yourself. I am not a scientist, and you don't need to use the word science to disprove every single thing that might come up. And that's kind of like where we're at right now. We're just, it's almost like a religion in and of its own. Oh, it's science. There's no papers that prove it, but you can do your own experiment without being a scientist. Right? You can use the scientific method to prove it to yourself whether it works for you or not. Okay, but I would also say this: if you are to undertake semen retention, you do have to give up corn, right? Not corn food, but you know what I'm saying, as a code word for what you're seeing on the screen. And that's, I think it's an epidemic for a lot of men right now. One of the things that the documentary talks about is, being in this state of depletion. You can see it in people's faces. I definitely know that too. Once the day after I spill my seed, like my face, I feel furrows in my head, my eyes, I see bags under my eyes. I look older, I look tired. The color of my face is different. And I've noticed this over the last year and a half since I've been practicing this, as I go and try to document everything. And that's something that I definitely see. So there's something at least physical that you can see on the outside. Imagine what's happening on the inside as you are depleting yourself of your manhood, of your essence every single day needlessly. So the first thing I said you have to give up is going to be corn. Okay, so give that up. Um, I'd say give it up. It's scary for people, right? I'd say just abstain from watching it for 30, 60, 90 days. See how you feel. On top of this, you're going to have to stack on a bunch of other positive benefits, or sorry, positive habits, but you're going to want to do them, and you're going to want to do them because you're going to see that the benefits kind of begin to exponentially stack and increase on one another. So cutting out sugar, cutting out caffeine, cutting out marijuana and nicotine. I don't sound like a fun guy, but I'm telling you, like, I used to do all those things a lot, and maybe I had to do them a lot to understand where I've gotten to right now. And I feel like it's changed my life. That's why I'm trying to share it with everybody else, because again, if you have this beautiful treasure and you're the only one hoarding it, what good is it to anybody else, right? These things. And so, one thing that I will leave you with is the idea of Plato's allegory of the cave. This is something that Dr. Jiang talks about often, and he talks about these group of people being stuck and chained to a wall in a cave, in a dark cave, and one person gets free, realizing that the chains that hold them are actually not real. Like the chain around my neck is just like a ribbon. The chains around my arms, like I can rip them off easily. And you go outside and you chase this light that calls to you, and you see the light, and you're like, wow, like the world out here is so much, there's so much beauty. It's like if you feel bliss, you have joy and all thing, and you go back into the cave and you try to tell everybody, hey man, you can free yourself, and you can go out there, and there's this beautiful light and warmth and love. And then these people usually try to kill you because they're stuck in there, right? It's like what they see. This is their reality, and so therefore they turn on you, and so you can't help anybody see what you have seen. They have to experience it for themselves, and so you can only plant those ideas, and that's kind of what I'm doing right now with this channel, with everything that we're working on here as we move forward for this Triple Crown Championship. So I'm glad that you all are here on the journey with me. And again, I'll be here every Wednesday at 10 o'clock sharing my experiences with you. Just again, a recap of where I'm going. I have a competition next week in Orlando. And then my first Kudo fight is going to be on my birthday. When I'm 46 years old, I'm going to weigh in. And the day after that, I get to fight Kudo. 1 3-minute round, get a punch, kick, headbutt each other, throw each other, take each other down. I'm fighting a UFC veteran. It's going to be wonderful. Okay, so tune in. And of course, that's exactly why I'm retaining my seed. And I said that in the last previous videos, is like, when I fought MMA coming out of retirement, I actually spilled my seed the day before, and I felt like so weak and tired. I didn't sleep that night, and it was terrible. And I remember what it was like, and I never want to feel like that again. So I'm doing everything I possibly can, eating right, making sure I get enough sleep, and retaining my seed. And I'm sure um, the well, the results will explain everything for themselves. Okay, so I got a couple things on the chat here. What's up? Is it possible to participate in Kudo tournaments without belt grade? Um, you know, when it comes to Kudo, you're going to have to be registered with USA Kudo, like some branch. We are a official branch in Kudo, and it's $65 to register. $65 for the year. It's like an annual membership that gets you pretty much like into any Kudo tournament. The next big Kudo tournament is going to be June 12th and 13th at North American Kudo Championships out in Colorado Springs, which I'm going to be fighting at. And I've seen white belts fight in them. I've seen like green belts. I've seen black belts fight in them. So I don't think you need a grade, so to speak, but you do need to have you need to be registered under for Kudo. So yeah, so that's going to be an exciting time. I retain from the end of September until January and hated the feeling of losing all the benefits from retention. I felt way off. And ever since then, I have started a new streak. Hey, congratulations, brother. Retain, reclaim your power, and I don't plan to break it anytime soon. And I'm married. Hey, let's go, buddy. Let's go. And I've pulled out this book a bunch of times. Let's see if I have the book on me. Nope. It's in my suitcase over there. The Multi-Orgasmic Man. It's for those of you that are married to learn how to make sure you keep your relationship, make sure your wife is satisfied, and at the same time, learn how to retain your seed the entire time. And yeah, I got a comment on one of my social media posts that said like, on my I retained my seed for 183 days. And somebody asked me, why did you stop? And that was because I was counting the days. I was like, I wanted to get to the day, and then afterward, like I didn't care after that. I wanted 6 months of retention. And I'd never done that before. I felt amazing. And the day after I spilled my seed, I felt tired. I felt tired. I felt like, I don't know. I felt off, just like this gentleman is saying in this. I felt off. So, um, in feeling that multiple times, going on and off. I don't call it relapsing. I would say like experimenting with the discipline of retaining your seed. I feel much better when I do, and that's what gives me my resolve to continue doing what I'm doing. Right, like the way that I feel, and I feel really good. So I want to continue feeling that way. Sometimes it takes little reminders to make you further your resolve, but this is where I'm at. So combo for Kudo fight. Yeah, I mean, you asking about what a good combo is? I mean, I have a bunch of different combos that I use from Muay Thai, but really what we're trying to do in the sport of Kudo is we're trying to combine striking with the takedown element, right? I mean, there's lots of elements, but I think the two things Kudo can really help with is combining your striking with clinching and taking down, and also ground and pound with submissions. For jiu-jitsu, it's like really hard to isolate limbs, and if you're not allowed to strike, like those opportunities become much harder to seize because people kind of like stay a lot tighter. So you be able to punch somebody in the face, it opens up a lot more opportunities. It opens them up literally, arms away from their body, legs away from their body. And so you can isolate an appendage and hopefully go for that submission. So I would say if you're just looking for combinations for Kudo, try to combine striking with trying to get a connection to the lapel, because that's a big way that we clinch, is getting the lapel and move them around. And you can use your judo throws from there, or just basically like take their collar and ruffle them up and like, pull them down to a referee's position. But that's one thing I love about Kudo is, we have the gi as well, and you can wrestle and you can do things like that, but you can also do a lot of things that, use the gi, like judo throws. So really cool. Questions about Kudo. I love it. What kind of submissions are banned in Kudo? Well, let's talk about what you can do. Basically, like any strangle, any joint lock, from almost any position. Now, what is disallowed is a twisting joint lock. So while Kimuras are allowed and like toe holds are allowed, you cannot do a twisting leg lock like a heel hook. But you can do straight ankle. You can do a straight knee bar. All those are accepted. You just can't do like a outside or inside heel hook. I don't know about Aoki locks. I mean, they still allow them in jiu-jitsu, even though they're technically a heel hook. But you do have a lot of access to different types of leg locks. So no twisting leg locks, but straight ankles, straight knee bars are totally allowed in there. And of course, the leg lock, the idea of it may change a little bit because you can get punched while you're on the ground. Although in Kudo, you cannot hit the person who's on the ground on the bottom directly in the face because of the potential for whiplash from the helmet that we wear. But you can, of course, score points by showing the spirit of punching to the face, kime, without making contact. And if you get 4 unprotected strikes to the face, then you're going to score a point. So you do want to think about that if you're a leg locker. But for those of you that do practice jujitsu and want to get involved in Kudo, I think there's a good you have a strong set of skills there that can be used effectively. Now, let's also say this: that you only have 30 seconds to work on the ground, and you have two what would you say? engagements that you can do in the span of 3 minutes. So you can spend 1 minute on the ground in two 30-second engagements. So you do have to work very quickly to submission. So it's not like a cook them, try to get appendages away and try to submit, but you get what I'm saying. So you have to be more aggressive with it, and you have to work fast. So that's one more thing I like about Kudo, because it's supposed to um, mirror the real fight as close as possible. You don't want to spend a lot of time on the ground. You want to go fast for attacks. Any tips for Kudo first fight? Well, I haven't had an official Kudo fight at a tournament yet. I've had a Kudo fight to get promoted. I would say that you know you got to make sure that you remember to breathe, because you're wearing this helmet. It's like a space helmet. And if you don't ki, right? Like we do a lot of that in when we practice. We ki, it's not just karate, and it's not just for show. It's actually to make sure that you exhale all the air out, and making sure that we're breathing, because that's going to be really important as you're in that helmet. So making sure you breathe effectively in a helmet, and breathe out when you're striking. So very important for your first Kudo fight. But yeah, and I love it. I'm really happy that a lot of people are on this channel to talk about Kudo. And again, that's one of the reasons why I am retaining my seed, is to be the best Kudo fighter at the age of 45, which is also the businessman class. So for those of you that are a little older, they're having masters divisions. They're having businessman class, which is over 45 division. There are a lot of opportunities for you to get in there and scrap. That I think that's one really cool thing about grappling sports, is that no matter what age you are, you can compete. And hopefully we can do this again with Kudo, with something that can, with MMA. It's basically MMA, right? With striking. And that's something that I definitely miss when it comes to competing. And I have no desire to come out of retirement and fight MMA or Muay Thai anymore. Like, that's an old time in my life. I also believe that to be an MMA fighter, you're going to have to want to hurt somebody, real bad. Like, you want to cut them. You got to be ferocious. And if you don't have that killer instinct anymore, it's very tough um, to be in that cage. And I know I don't have that anymore, but I do have the desire to fight. Like, I want to fight somebody. I want to have ability to hone my skills. I want ability to see where I'm at. And that's really where I'm at. Holy crap, you're 45. Much respect. Thank you. Thank you. I credit that to, just trying to keep a healthy lifestyle. And, one of the things that I always say on this channel is I think that semen retention really does help with me, but also maybe partially genetic, because Asian don't raisin, right? Like, that's the other thing. Um, I always want to use judo and kickboxing both at the same time. Yeah, this would be the great time to do it. Fight in a Kudo fight, you could definitely do that. You can definitely grab the jacket, throw somebody down, use your punches, kicks. You can use your range, and when you get in close, like, get connected. Now, one thing I would say about the clinch, you only get 10 seconds to work in the clinch. So you gotta start hitting. But one great thing you can do in the clinch, you can headbutt, right? What other sport can you headbutt other than combat sambo? So you can headbutt, you can throw, but you got to make it happen in 10 seconds or they're going to break you. All right. The great part about it is you can clinch as many times as you want in one fight, and you got 3 minutes to fight. Unless, of course, there's nothing scored. If no points are scored, then you may fight a second or possibly a third round if it's the finals. So this is also, while Kudo is like, you can be very aggressive, you do need to make sure that you don't um, expend your entire gas tank in the first round, right? It's a tournament style. So you're going to have to fight again, most likely, if it's not the finals. And even in the finals, you may fight 3 rounds. So again, that's always really important. And that's really the reason why I'm on this discipline journey as well, because I'm going to need a lot to do this. I'm going to need to eat well, sleep well, make sure I'm not needlessly spending my energy doing other things, like wasting it to corn, some pixels on a screen for no reason. And I need to guard my essence and guard my energy as best I can. And I'm glad y'all are on this journey with me to do it. Okay. So those are the couple things I got coming up. I got a competition this weekend. Next weekend, the Pan American Games, very big tournament, 30 people in my bracket. So it's going to be like 4 or 5 matches to go there, and the Kudo fight coming up. All right. And I already got one person that I'm going to be fighting for sure, a UFC veteran of, like, I don't know, 10 or 20 fights. He's got a lot of fights there. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be a challenge for sure. And I need every edge that I possibly can get. So I'm glad you all are on this channel, and looking forward to sharing more of the experiences that I have with you guys. And for those of you that do want to get into Kudo, um, I will be releasing a fundamentals. It's just a Kihon Waza, the basic techniques that hold all Kudo schools together. And that's the beautiful thing about Kudo, is that it's the way of the open mind. right? And that's really what it means, the way of the open mind. And so therefore, it takes on all effective techniques from all arts. I've got one more thing here. Have you noticed how much more locked in conversations with other people, almost as if you're genuinely interested in what the conversation is and whereas if you are not retaining, it feels fake? Well, it's not just, I wouldn't say it's not just anecdote. I think this is absolutely correct. One thing it's much easier for me to do is hold a conversation, to have eye contact with somebody, right? For some reason, it becomes more effortless to meet people and have conversations with them. The ideas behind it is, you're like emanating energy. You have this aura about you. You have this energy about you. You also, one thing that I did mention, the Seed documentary, he talks about this extensively. It's like the gooner. I didn't even know that was a term, right? A gooner, like a person who just compulsively masturbates, right? They have this like a look about them, like their eyes look beady, their faces look sunken, their body looks depleted. It's like the creeper, right? Like, do you want to spend time with this person? It's like people can detect that sometimes, and maybe that's instinctual, maybe that's pheromones, maybe that's the aura that we talk about, but more people are drawn to you because they don't feel those things about you. And that could be one of the reasons why it might be easier to hold a conversation. It's not just you and the way you feel, but it's also them, like how comfortable they feel talking to you. Because after all, it's like that's what relationship is, right? It's not just one person. It's like both the people, right? And I'm 100% feel the way that you are expressing here when it comes to talking to people, even like having a conversation with a bunch of people that I can't see on here on this live stream. Like I feel it feels less effort, um, and I love the way that feels. Now, of course, your time is valuable, so more and more people are going to want to come talk to you. Opportunities can present themselves. That's where you also have to make sure you guard your time really well, and yeah, and just spend time with people that you feel that you want to spend time with. And that's another thing that helps me really get want to commit to this, is I feel locked in with my family. I'm really much more present. I'm not on my phone scrolling all the time. That's another thing I'm trying to give up, is try to get off social media when I don't need to be. Although it is part of my job and I have to communicate with people, I do have to protect my time, protect my brain. And I'm a firm believer that's also why, like, we get anxious and our attention spans are short, is that social media is there just, taking it away. Of course, you have to be positive about how you spend your time on social media. And hopefully one of those things is being on a channel like this and sharing these opportunities and conversations with one another, because I do really do appreciate you. And if you really are enjoying the channel, please make sure you subscribe, like the video. That helps me a lot, and that also helps get this message out to help other people. And as we said before, like, we don't need to be in competition with another, in the sense that we need to guard these advantages and secrets. Like, this is something that I think can help a lot of people, and so therefore we want to spread the word as much as possible, right? um, so yeah, I would agree with that. Having conversations with people tends to be a lot easier for me when I am much more disciplined and I'm retaining my seed. So thank you for bringing that up, and that's one of the benefits that you talk about on the Seed documentary. Again, I will link that into the description below if you want to check it out. Again, it helped me a lot. It helped uh, really make me more committed to this, and I think it'll help you guys too. It's only an hour of your time. Check it out, and the guy doesn't. He's not asking for anything. I can tell you're a good man. Thank you for spreading the awareness of seed retention, and how it can vastly improve others. Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for the kind words. You know, it's also what we do, right? Every day. We can't be. It's hard to just say good or bad, but I do appreciate your opinion. I try to do good every day. Sometimes I do bad things too, and I'm trying to do less of those and try to do as best things that I possibly can, because we're very here for very short time on this earth, and it's really about the mark that we leave, and hopefully it's going to be one of positivity. And I think this is one of the things that really can help us do this. So I really do want to appreciate and thank everybody for being on the stream, and I'm looking forward to our next one coming up. As I said before, stay tuned, because I should have blood work. I should have coffee update on my 1 year away from coffee. And this will be about 2 days, 3 days before the next tournament coming through. One more question. Is it possible for me to enter tournaments independently instead of under a dojo? You're going to need to be under for the sport of kudo, you're going to need to be under a branch, because you got to be there's insurance and stuff associated with it as well. And for us, it's $65 a year. So if you want to get connected to our branch, I'll also put a link in the description below too if you want to join our membership through our branch and compete in tournaments. And hopefully we can get more and more people competing tournaments as we go along. And again, the Big X Big Tournament is going to be the North American Kudo Championships out in Colorado Springs. And I hope to see a lot of people at that. Okay. And very excited for that as we're training for it. But first things first, I got to get this Pan American Championship. This will make me the two-time Pan American champion. I am going to go for the Masters 4. I'm aging out of the Masters 3. That's a 46 to 40 to 50-year-olds. And yeah, this is where we're at. And hopefully I can do this forever. So, and I know that if I continue to retain my seed, that I can do this forever because it is our vitality, it is our life force, and we want to make sure that we retain it. And it's not just trying to live longer; it's also trying to have like the healthiest years as you get older in age. And we want to make sure that we do that. Look at that! Look how much gray hair I'm getting right now. It's coming in, but hopefully that's just a sign of wisdom, and that's just a sign of aging and wasting away. But again, I feel better than I ever did in my 20s. I never understood why I got up and felt sleepy every single day, other than just like eating terribly, not doing the right things. Of course, all those can help you out, but like one of the things that definitely helped me out is semen retention. And I would say this, like, I know that after age 40, like naturally your, testosterone begins to decline and your libido begins to decline a little bit. Like there is some truth to that. I'm not as I would say like alert to the female persuasion as I was when I was 16, 17, 18 years old, right? But imagine if more of those people, more young people would protect their essence, protect their seed, what they could divert that energy, that sexual energy into. I bet you they could do a lot. And so therefore, I wish somebody had told me this when I was a lot younger. What would you tell your younger selves? Like, hey, don't waste time looking at corn. It's poisoning your mind. It's killing your soul. It's wasting your energy. But all back then, all I had were pop culture references like American Pie, like things like that that just made you chase girls and say that um, uh, that masturbation was a totally normal thing and it didn't affect you. And if anything, it was a positive thing, right? And I wish somebody had told me that when I was younger. But I try to tell some people it again. Plato's allegory to the cave. You cannot convince anybody to do anything. You have to, all you can do is point the way, and they can find it for themselves, right? So that's it, and that's also how we have to treat this journey. Because if you get on a high horse, and you're like, oh, I'm doing semen retention, I'm better than everybody else, and I'm trying to, I would just be perpetuating the one-upsmanship that really is a cancer to society. So nobody wants that. Um, I'm saying I'm withdrawn from caffeine as well, and I'm found high quality pure cacao powder. Oh, great! That's awesome. More power to you, brother. One of the things that I got into when I got off caffeine was the mushroom coffees without caffeine. I tried decaffeinated coffee, decaffeinated teas, and nothing really set with me. Actually, all I have now is just rooibos tea, which is something I highly recommend. Rooibos tea, amazing, from South Africa. You can get it off of the internet, and there's no caffeine in it, and I find that it helps me with my having to have like a compulsive having a drink in my hand, right? So yeah, but great. I'm glad I haven't tried the cacao powder. I think that's a great thing to do. I would definitely give it a try. And yeah, here's your retaining is only the starting point in growing in essence. I agree. I can't agree more. Um, when I started it, it helped me stack on so many more positive habits, and it's only because I wanted to do them, not anybody told me to do them. I would say the caffeine came out of curiosity, that came out of reading Reddit subreddits, and I was just like, hmm, maybe that's why. Like I feel so amped up and so anxious, and I don't want to feel that way. And so after giving it up cold turkey almost a year ago, I think it's one of the best decisions I ever made. Um, do I think about it sometimes? Maybe, but when I do, I try to drink some caffeine, some decaffeinated coffee, and I know there's some caffeine in it as well. That's why I'm exploring this Swiss water decaffeinated coffee. I don't know if you guys heard about that. It's basically like 2 milligrams of 2 to 5 milligrams of caffeine left in there, whereas most caffeine decaffeinated coffee beans are like between 10 to 30, depending on how you prepare it. So something I'll give it a try, and if it's good, I'll recommend it to the group here to see how that might satiate your caffeine craving. But for me, I feel really good. So congratulations to everybody who's taking on these things. Hey, look, sometimes there's a lot of bumps in the roads too. Don't take that as a reason to get off of the road and the journey to greatness that we're on together. So yeah, I mean, just realize that, I'm so fortunate and appreciative of everybody that jumps on this live stream to share your experiences and to get together, because like this is what we really need, and this is really what the human experience is about too, right? It's about relationships, about doing good, it's about connecting with one another. That's what makes us feel good. I think that's really what the problem is with society right now. That's why we feel discontent. Like the way that everything is set up is just to be a transaction, is to suck our productivity out through money and then move it somewhere else. As you know, I live in a world with a tinfoil hat on my head, and I think that the world is not made for us, and so therefore we have to make our own way through it. And that's not to say that we have to turn our back on the world, but we need to find tools, ways, skills, people to help us kind of navigate this journey together. And once again, I'm very happy that we're on this together. And so, yeah, thank you very much for joining me. And I hope to see you in the next one. And for those of you, again, if you're enjoying this content, please make sure you like, subscribe to the channel. If you're new to martial arts or whether you're training martial arts, I do have a lot of courses for you that you can check out in the description below. All the proceeds of the sales go to help finance my journey to the Triple Crown champion as a world champion in Judo, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and Kudo in the over 45 division. And I'll continue to share my experiences, the world, so we can chase greatness together. And from it, I'll see you in the next one.